Can you see this sign? It reminds us that there are crocodiles nearby. You don't like those signs that warn us about wild moose that run out on the road at the most inappropriate moment? But this sign has a special meaning. It warns us about one particular crocodile named Gustav. This monster, in its 60-odd years, has managed to eat at least 300 people. He keeps the people of Burundi in fear. Gustav is cunning, bloodthirsty, and huge. So far, no one has managed to catch him. But Gustav isn't the only creature on the planet that amazes us. Today, you'll see lizards crying bloody tears, a frog that throws itself off a rock, and also some real zombies of the animal world. Let's go. You can see, here's the most ordinary thing. Weasel on a woodpecker. Wait, what? Is this from the new part of The Lord of the Rings? Oh, it's even cooler than we thought. Okay, in fact, this is not just a harmless walk in the air. The photographer caught a weasel in the middle of hunting. It's hard to believe, but these tiny, fluffy animals, which we want to pet so much, are actually fierce predators. Well, in their weight range. In comparison with a lion, a weasel, of course, will lose. But in fact, weasels are real killers who always go all the way. They can catch their prey in the water, on the ground, even in the air, like this woodpecker. If the weasel wants to eat a seagull,
that thing is trying to get him hard.
It'll catch a seagull and nobody will stop it. Weasels can even catch rabbits, catch them and kill them despite their modest size. We can say that they are kind of honey badgers' junior cousins. Because of their voracity, weasels are also considered parasites. They attack farms where they successfully eat small animals and birds. Well, I guess we should be thankful that people aren't on the weasel's menu. But we can't say the same about the diet of these monsters. Meet the lamprey. They may well become your worst nightmare tonight. Sea lampreys have been the main pest of the Great Lakes of North America. They not only destroy fish by sucking on them with their teeth and leaving terrible scars, but lampreys also attack people. Such an attack feels strange.
Look at this, That is a very, very strange sensation.
Imagine a vacuum cleaner that suddenly has grown teeth and doesn't want to let you go, and you get a hungry lamprey. It's really difficult to detach a lamprey from your body, especially if it's a soft skin area like the neck.
That is hard to get off. That is hard. That is hard to get off.
We can call these creatures water vampires, and we wouldn't be wrong. They drink blood with great pleasure. Fortunately for humans, lampreys aren't very dangerous. Yeah, it won't be the most pleasant encounter of your life, but they aren't as bloodthirsty as described in the legends. Strictly speaking, the lampreys should fear man, not vice versa, because people often eat them. For example, the Royal Air Force has prepared a coronation pie of lampreys for Queen Elizabeth II. But you can't envy the fish that becomes a lamprey's victim. It has no hands to get rid of the blood-sucking parasite. That means that the lamprey will draw blood from the fish as long as it wants, and eventually it'll draw the life out of it. This is terrible. It's an absolutely hopeless situation that usually ends with the death of the fish itself, and then the lamprey goes in search of the next victim. Imagine if a person experienced such horror. Fish are often just food for other underwater inhabitants, and for terrestrial ones as well, and even for those who spend most of their time in the air. Now, it doesn't always happen this way. No, you're wrong. It's not just about sharks. It's a well-known fact that they are ready to eat anything. And what about the giant trevor? It's the main predator in the coral reef ecosystem. The largest of these fish can exceed 1.5 meters in length and weigh almost 80 kilograms. That's about 5 feet and 180 pounds. The giant eats fish, clams, and crustaceans, but can sometimes eat turtles, dolphins, or birds. And the trevally don't just attack. They can accurately calculate the speed, flight altitude, and trajectory of the bird to strike right. It's quite possible that such a fish is capable of accidentally ripping off a man's arm or leg. So it's better not to pretend to be a bird if you want to swim near coral reefs.
I'm a bird.
However, giant trevally isn't the only example of unusual animal behavior. In the Kalahari Desert, there's a bird called the common Drongo. It's a distant relative of an ordinary sparrow with its beautiful dark plumage. But we remember the Drongo not for its beauty. We hope they won't be offended, but we find the Drongo most notable for being a natural deceiver. It's literally Loki in the form of a bird. As soon as they see meerkats with their prey, they emit a signal of danger. The Drongos pretend that there's a predator nearby, but as soon as the meerkat throws the food aside and disappears underground, the prey immediately goes to the cunning bird. Hey, what happened? It seems smart that after 2 or 3, or well, okay, after 10 cases like that, meerkats would begin to suspect something, but the Drongo are prepared for this. They imitate other birds using their danger signals, so the meerkats don't even have time to understand what's happening. At the same time, the unfortunate animals have to react to the sounds that the birds make in order to not become a victim of predators. Poor creatures. But what if people behave like this? Wait a minute, actually, there are quite a few really strange things in the animal world, even the ones that are hard to imagine in our reality. What is the probability that a TV program will suddenly be interrupted by a story about a zombie invasion?
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living.
Okay, that has happened. But if there was cable in the insect world, these statements would be happening all the time. A fungus called Ophiocordyceps unilateralis is responsible for zombies in the insect world. The spores of this fungus parasite get on the body of the ant through the air, and they grow inside the organism. Yes, while it's still alive. All this process is accompanied by the release of certain substances into the ant's body, which makes the insect forget about everything. Now it can obey the master, and the fungus has one simple goal. Nope, not power over the world, fortunately. The goal is climbing to an ideal place to spread its spores as far as possible. To do this, the fungus uses an ant, and when the place is found, it just germinates. The insect dies, and the fungus grows out of its head, forming a box of spores. The spores fall on other ants, and well, you understand the scheme. And you know, it's good that these fungi don't affect people. Thank you, evolution. We can thank evolution for many things. Some of them seem brilliant, some of them quite strange, and sometimes both all at once. For example, the ability of archerfish to spray. Archerfish are small fish that have an amazing ability. They're real snipers. Fortunately, nobody gives out firearms to the archerfish. Instead, the fish use water. The archerfish are able to release a jet of water to hit their target. Usually, the target is insects. If one jet isn't enough, the fish sprays again and again until the insect falls into the water, where the archerfish can eat it calmly. But this is not the strongest example yet. Moreover, it may well be considered rather common because there are lizards that shoot blood out of their eyes.
Bam. Something like that?
I think you. Oh, I did it! Oh!
Hey, nature, are you okay? I think you need to stop with the horror movies for a while. Horned lizards are a kind of short-legged and short-tailed lizard that resembles tiny dragons with no wings. They live in the desert and lead a normal life for lizards. They eat ants, but as soon as the predator appears, everything changes. If it isn't possible to merge with the rocky soil, the lizard shoots at the enemy with its own blood from the eyes. It's as if it wants to say, "Ooh, you look so disgusting." It's a very strong stream, and if the lizard was the size of a fire engine, it would surpass any irrigation device. In addition, the blood jet coming out of the eye capillaries contains strong chemicals. Blood not only stains the predator, but also irritates its skin and mucous membranes. In this scenario, anyone would prefer to look for another dinner. And by the way, if you suddenly decide to try the blood of this lizard, are you okay? Don't try it, really. That's incredibly atrocious.
Did you just eat that? Are you okay?
While lizards act like bloody fire trucks, well, hey, better not think about that. At the very same time, the bombardier beetles are obviously busy with cosplaying anti-tank guns. Like many representatives of the animal world with unusual abilities, they look quite mediocre, but the main secret is hidden inside, or rather inside and behind. There are glands that produce a mixture of hydroquinones and hydrogen peroxide. It enters a special tank, but as long as the beetle is calm, the liquids don't mix. But as soon as a serious, dangerous opponent appears, the substances react. The mixture is heated to over 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the beetle shoots it at a predator. It's not random. The insect's abdomen is very mobile. Thanks to this mobility, the beetle can aim, and aim very accurately. It's able to shoot under, behind, above, right, left, and up. Some species are able to give out a series of shots. Some animals fight with predators, some run away, or start shooting at them with all kinds of things. But the pebble toad has overpowered them all. It falls down from the mountain. Of course, this doesn't mean that if it meets a predator at the foot, the toad climbs up to play lemming. It lives on the slopes of the mountains known as the tepui. Because of evolution, the pebble toad has learned to jump long distances, and this made the poor toad an easy prey for tarantulas. And then, it came up with a great solution. When a predator appears, the toad bends all 4 legs, turning into a kind of ball. Then it just rolls off a slope like a pebble. At the same time, a pebble toad is so small and light that the force of impact is too small to hurt it. This is such an original way to save itself from spiders, but please don't try to repeat it. Well, if you haven't understood it yet, nature happens to be just mad. Do you know any other examples? Share them in the comments, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Bye, and see you soon.